Hello, today we will going to discuss about one more topic, that is rural leadership. See, whenever we are talking about the development of rural area, there is a need of a good leader who could look after the developmental activities in the rural area, and this will be a very effective and efficient factors which is influencing in achieving socio-economic development of the people in the rural area. Now we will see what is leader. See, when we are telling about a leader, leader is a person who influences a group of people towards the achievement of a goal. As I told, the leader is a person who could able to influence his followers or the members in a group such that they could work together to achieve their goal. See, leader and leadership are the two concepts in which the leadership is a process in which the person will going to direct his followers and control the action of the people or a group of people or the communities towards achieving a common goal. So leader is a person, leadership is a process which involves in motivating or influencing the behavior of other members in a community to achieve a common goal. Now we will see some of the important qualities of a good leader or a leader in a rural area. The first one is the intelligent. When we are telling about a leader, leader must be intelligent. Intelligent, not in terms of their marks or the academic progress, but they should be intelligent in taking a decision, or maybe intelligent in thinking about a particular situation very rapidly. See, if something happens, he should be very intelligent in managing the things and getting the things are solved at a particular period of time or at that situation. And the next one is initiative. When we are telling about a leader, he must be a first person to take up that activity rather than waiting for his followers. And he should keep himself as a model for that. For example, if you want to achieve a Swachhata Abhiyan in the village, he must be a first person to start the cleaning process surrounding his house, and he should take up that Abhiyan as a first, such that his followers should follow him and they feel that he acts as a model for him, and he should put himself as an idol for other or a model for other by initiating each and every activity. And the next important thing is the integrity. Integrity means it is nothing but his honesty, sincerity, and truthfulness. That means he must be credible enough in giving the information to each and every member. He should not be partial. He should be impartial in fulfilling the requirement of each and every member in a community. And whatever he tells, he must be honest enough in doing that work. And he should have the truthfulness in him, and he should not be questioned by any members in a society for his behavior, his activity, or for his characteristics. That means a leader should be a good enough, credible enough, truthful enough to trust and to get the work to achieve the development of a community. And the next one is decisiveness. Decisiveness is nothing but a decision making. A leader must be clever enough to take a decision at a right time, and he must be able to take a right decision. That means whenever the difficult situation arises, whenever they used to have an option for them, he must be clever enough to take a proper decision at a particular time, and that decision should be profitable to his community. And the next one is dependability. That is, he must be trustworthy. That means he must be treated as one of a person with whom all the community members are dependent. He should not show his dishonesty, or he should not show his uncredibleness. Always, if he is go on lying the things, no person or the nobody in a community will not going to believe him, and they will not be dependent on him. They used to take their decision independently without consulting him or his activity. That means he must be truthful enough such that his followers are entirely dependent on him, and his progress or his success is entirely dependent on his followers. And the next character is he must be having a pleasing personality. The pleasing personality means he must be humble enough. He must have a proper hospitality for his fellow members. And he should speak very smoothly, politely. And he should be loyal to his work. All these things will going to decide about his pleasing personality. Whenever we are telling about a person is pleasing enough or he is having a pleasing personality, he must not hurt any others feeling, emotions, their requirement. Whenever he's going to put forward his activities, it should be polite enough, it should be diplomatic enough without affecting or impacting on others' emotions or the feelings. That means he must have a quality that everybody should like him and everybody should trust him, and he should keep himself always happy and do the things in a very trustful way. That is what the important characteristics of a leader. And the next one is perseverance. Perseverance means he must be sustainable in achieving his goal. For example, being a leader, if he failed in a first attempt and second attempt, and if he lose the interest in doing that particular work, he cannot be told as a perseverance or he is a trustful leader. Because even though he fails for first or a second or a third time, he must sustain his interest and a commitment in achieving the goal or the work for the betterment of his community. And the next one is persuasiveness. Persuasiveness means it is nothing but a convincing his fellow people. Being a leader, he must have a quality of perceiving or convincing thing to his members. For example, whenever he is taking some decision for the welfare of his community or a group, some people may not agree because each and every member in a community are not equal, are not same in achieving the goal, or they are not equal. Everybody is having their own doubts and everybody wants to have a clarification and everybody wants their development by that particular activity. In that situation, being a leader, he must be having this quality to perceive each and every member or convince each and every member such that the decision taken is for the welfare of whole community. And the next one is sociability. Sociability is nothing but he must mingle with each and every member in a group without considering their caste, creed, religion, their socioeconomic status, whatever it may be. Being a leader, for him, each and every member is equal and he must treat each and every member as equal person for that. Even though he is from a lower caste, even though he is from a poverty group, whatever it may be, he must talk with everybody equally. He should cater to the needs of each and every member of the group in equal interest and in equal success. That is what is very important for a leader in a community, such that he should be accepted by each and every member in a village or in a group. And the next one is self-confidence. The self-confidence is very, very essential. If a leader is not having a confidence among himself, he cannot do any work further or he cannot able to achieve the goal of his community. That means he must have a confidence to get the support from his members or whatever the action he want to do, he should have a confidence that that will be supported by my fellow people or I could able to achieve this goal by the support taken by my members. And the next one is the judgment. That means he must decide or he must draw the conclusion which is right or wrong, or which is good or bad, which is profitable or harmful to his community should be judged by him at a specific period of time for the benefit of his community. Being a leader, he must have a very good judgment ability. Many times there may be a wrong judgment leads to the failure of welfare of a community, and that leader will going to lose his credibility, trustworthiness and everything, and truthfulness, humbleness, or whatever may be the character everybody wants from him will not be taken into consideration. That's why whenever we are telling about a leader must have a better judgeable ability such that whatever the judgment or the decision he is taking should be for the welfare of his community. Tactfulness. Always we used to use this, the tactful. Tactful is nothing but the placing the idea in front of his member in such a way that it should not hurt others' feelings or the member's feeling. For example, if anything want to take, it should be, for example, if you tell that now the COVID-19 is a serious problem, we want to tell the community people should not go out, do their work, and we should not make them afraid of all those things. It should be put in such a way that they should feel that, okay, it is a good for our health and this has been taken for our welfare, and they should accept the decision which is made by the leader for the development. That means when there is a tense situation, he should present information in such a way that it with a lot of sense of humor, such that it will going to minimize the tension which is arising there. That means whenever you are going to tell the information, that should not hamper the emotions or the feeling of other members in a community. Now we will see the different types of leader existing in a community. The first one is the democratic leader. As the name itself indicates, the democratic leader are the persons who are elected by the members of the society for the taking decision on behalf of them. That means now ours is a democratic country, India. In Indian leaders are the democratic leaders. These leaders are selected by each and every responsible citizen of the country. And these leaders will take the policies, make the policies, put forth our problems in front of the others and get the money and do work for the welfare of the people in a group. In a democratic leadership, each and every person in a group is having equal opportunity to participate in a decision or giving suggestion. Being a leader, the leader will take all members' opinion and the suggestion. Based on that, he'll going to put forth the problem in front of the group, and he'll put forth or develop the policies for the welfare of the group. And the next one is the autocratic leader. The autocratic leader is the one, he will not consider anybody's opinion, their suggestions given by the group members. He feels that I am the leader, I will going to take the decision, and everybody has to follow the decisions made by me. Like that, in autocratic leadership, it is a good example for this is a Hitler. Nowadays, you can see the Kim. He acts as a autocratic leader. Whatever the decisions taken by him should be followed by each and every member in a country. That means nobody's wish, feelings, suggestions will not be considered by the leader. Leader himself alone will take the decision. All the member has to follow the decision made by the leader, which may be not acceptable by them. And the next type of leader is a laissez-faire leader. Here, the leader will be very lazy, as the name itself indicates. They won't take any initiation, they won't talk, or they won't consult the members. They will be always lazy. They feel that all the activities will be done by the members of the group. He will be leader for a namesake, and the decisions will be taken or the policies will be taken by the members of the group only. The good example for the laissez-faire leader is the royal family which is existing in England, or maybe the royal family existing in a Mysore. We are telling that they are our king, they are our royal family. We treat them as a leader, but they won't actually involve in making any decisions or the policies. Each and every decisions will be taken by the members of that group who are elected by the members only. That is what is called as a laissez-faire leader. Now we will see some of the different types of leaders in Indian rural community. The first one is called as a formal leader. There are two types of formal leader. The first one is the institutional leaders. The institutional leaders are the one who are elected by the village people to the different village institutions or the organizations like panchayat, cooperatives, youth clubs, mahila mandals, etc. These the institutional leaders are the one, they are called as the president, vice president, or sometimes the office bearers who are working in the different rural institutions, who are elected by the members of the rural community. And here they will going to take the decisions, and they are having a specific term for them. After that, their power will going to end, and the new member will come, and he will be also having a fixed term for executing the policies or the activities to be taken up for the development of the community. And the second type of a formal leader is an administrative leader. The administrative leaders are appointed by the government to look after the development of village administration. For example, if we are telling about a village panchayat, the panchayat president is the institutional leader, whereas the secretary, panchayat secretary, is a administrative leader. The administrative leader is not having any duration. His job is a permanent, and he will be there permanently. And whereas the institutional leader will be having his duration, he will be go on changing, whereas the administrative leader will not going to change until there won't be any transfer from the governmental sector. These are the two different types of the formal leadership existing. And the second type of leaders in a rural community is the informal leaders. The informal leaders are the leaders who are recognized voluntarily by the village people. And when we go and ask a village people, they used to tell that they are our leaders because they used to guide and they used to influence others people, or maybe sometimes their expertise will going to give them as a leader informally. For example, we can take the opinion leader, contract farmers. They are called as an informal leader in area of agriculture. Whereas if you go to a music, if a person who is expertise, who has done vidvat in a music, he may be called as a leader in a musical field. But all the villagers will voluntarily identify, even though they are not elected, they won't be having a power, they won't be having a duration, but because of their expertise, because of their guidance, because of influencing the people to carry out the work in a better way, they are called as a leader. They are informal leader. And the next one is the traditional leader. The traditional leaders are the one who get the leadership mainly based on the tradition. Traditions means because of their hereditary, because of the richness of their family. These are the one of the type of leader. For example, if you take a royal family, king, after his death, his son will become a king, even though he may be having a characteristics of a leader or not. That is hereditary. And sometimes a rich people, the Patels, Gaudas, Sardars, the Sarpanch, these people are called as a leader because of their economical status in the village. They are very rich. They could able to afford each and every activities in the village. They can take a decision on behalf of the villagers. Because of that also, they could be called as a leader. They are called as a traditional leaders. Now we will see what are the different methods used to locate the leaders in a community. The first one is the reputational method. The reputational method is nothing but we will going to ask a villagers to name a person whom they consider as a leader, whom they contact as a leader. Based on their reputation, as because of the traditions, or because of the richness, or because of the expertise, each and every rural member will going to identify one person and he will going to name that he will be called as a leader in our village. That is based on your reputation, you will be recognized as a leader. But this is a very too much time consuming and there may be a chance of biasness in identifying this type of a leader. And the next one is the positional leader. The positional leader is a person who holds a key position in the village or an organization, could be located as a leader. For example, if you see the Grama Panchayat president will be called as a leader because he is holding a key position in his village and he could be called as one of a best leader in the village. If you go and ask, name your leader, formal leader, they will going to name that person only because that person is having a position in the village. And the next one is the decision making method. The person who is actively involved in decision making process for the welfare of a community will be called as one of the leader. This could be done when we see informally, we will going to observe the people and seeing the people who will be actively involved in deciding some important factor for the welfare of the community, and they could be named as a leader in as for that village. And the next one is the social participation method. Here, the number of organization a person is participating regularly could be called as a leader. He may be a member, he may be office bearer, or he may be a president. Because of his social participation in a different organization existing in a village, he could be called as a leader. When we go to a village, we ask them simply, who are your leader? Instead of reputation, if you ask it based on their position, they will tell that one person who is a Grama Panchayat member, is also a president of Milk Producers Cooperative Society, he is the secretary of youth club. So many things they will tell and they will nominate him as a social leader or a social participation leader. But one of the best method of identifying the leader is sociometric method. In a sociometric method, we will going to develop a questionnaire, and in that we will going to ask a person about a leader whom they are going to identify, or what are the character a trait a person must have a leader. Based on that, we will going to identify a leader. The best example for this is a voting method. What the first reputation method is another type of reputation method. Here we will ask a person to vote for their leader. Based on a person who gets the highest vote, we will call them as a leader, and which is the best method which is used for identifying a leader. What are the usefulness of a rural leader? The first one is the rural leader. The important thing is the usefulness of a leader is as a development agent. As I told, leader must always think about the welfare of a community or the rural area. So always he will be treated as a development agent because he is a person who involved in deciding or policy making for the welfare of a community. And the next one is effective informant, because he is representing a group and he is called as a leader, and he will going to bring out what are the problems faced by the people, and he will inform it to a higher authorities to take up a better solution for that. And the next one is the effective introducer. Leader is an effective introducer because he will going to introduce his village, or the some of the expertise available in his village will be introduced by the leader in front of the other people. What are the other functions of the rural leader? The first one is a leader must represent the whole group. Being a leader, I should not bother about my individual interest or my individual welfare. I must always represent the whole group. I must think about the things which is beneficial for the whole group. And the next one is he must speak on behalf of the group. Instead of expressing my own interest, instead of expressing my own opinions, I must speak on behalf of the group because I am representing a particular community or a group to whom I am called as a leader. And the next thing, it helps the group in sorting out the plans for achieving the goals. Always, if everybody's property is nobody's property, so that's why when we give the task for a group to come out with a efficient plan for the development to achieve a goal, nobody can come out with that. For that, we need one person who could able to direct them in a proper way such that they can sort out the one of the best plan to achieve their goal or to come out with the development in a rural area. And the next one is he must be coordinating the group activity. Being a leader, he must be able to keep everybody intact in a cohesion, and they must work in cooperation and coordination among each other. And the next one is he is responsible for evaluation. Being a leader, he should not judge himself that I am efficient, I am effective, I am doing everything for the group, for the welfare of the group. Being a leader, he must be a person to evaluate himself that whether he is doing the work for the welfare of a community in a proper way, what the people are expecting from him. Thank you so much. This is about the rural leadership, how a leader play an important role in a development of the rural area. Thank you so much.